Fires one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
God damn, that intro music sounds good.
Yeah. We're almost getting ready for hockey season.
Yeah, it's exciting time. It's the best time of year.
Kids are going back to school. You can start to feel the change in the weather, and you're on your way to Spain.
Not yet.
Well, we're getting closer than we were yesterday.
You forgot about the most important thing.
Which is what?
Pumpkin spice season.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The time where the scarves start coming out of the basement. You do a little platoon in the front closet and make sure the appropriate clothes are there so you don't have to go digging for them when that first snowfall comes. I know we're not there yet, but everyone's thinking about it. The second that school starts, you start getting into that fall mentality.
Someone's cursing us out. Stop it. Winter's not coming.
I know. But listen, the quicker we get there, the quicker hockey season starts. So what is your itinerary from now until when you leave?
Training, number one.
Okay.
Which we have something very important to announce next episode. So it'll be coming up next week.
Hook them in. Here they come. Just reeling them in.
Wait, Hook Tua?
Hook Tua. That's still a thing? Is that still a thing?
When I went to Sweden for 2 years, I really liked the anticipation towards going there. Right, the training, the preparation, the on the ice, the off the ice, the unknown. What's going to happen? Where am I going to live? What's that going to look like? What are the guys going to be like? Meeting the guys. It's always so exciting, especially going over to a new country where I don't know the culture's like. I don't know what the arena is like, what the hockey league is like, to actually experience it. I've heard from my agent, I've heard from other guys that have played in the league, but to actually experience it and to share it with you, the amazing people that listen to this podcast in vlog format and video format. Also, if you're on the video version of YouTube for the podcast, you'll get that as well. But it's just so many things to look forward to. This is my favorite time of year.
I want to go back to the training here for a second because, again, I come from a generation where we would get together as a group of guys who were, finishing up midget or playing junior or coming back from college, wherever it may be, guys that were playing semi-pro, and we'd all throw some money in a hat and rent the ice a couple times a week or once a week, whatever it may be, just to kind of stay in game shape because, keep in mind, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there wasn't these opportunities of summer leagues and all these different opportunities. And especially being in a northern community, we would just kind of rent the ice and go out and make sure that we stayed in skating form. But I always found that the closer we got to when training camp, guys had to go back to training camps and whatnot, the pace picked up a little bit. You started focusing a little bit more. There was general rules like no open ice hitting, only things against the boards. But you didn't want to take all those bad habits that you learned over the summer and then take them into training camps. I'm curious to know, where are you in that mindset?
I think it's all about screaming at your goalie coach and you're going to getting those reps in to get everything technically formatted. Because if you're in...
but that's the thing. I mean, you've been working on technical since the season ended last year. When do you start getting into game mode and how do you do that?
Game mode? So this is a bit of a hot take, but a lot of guys do the camps where you have 5-on-5 or the running drills. I find you can do a lot of bad habits with that because you have so many guys just rapid firing you on for an hour and a half, hour and 15. But with the goalie sessions, it's actually dialing in very specific details and it's getting drilled into your mind so it happens naturally. And then when you get on the ice for the 5-on-5 or the actual practice drills, it just happens more naturally. So
let's get it out of the way.
Hip surgery, round 2.
Okay, when did this happen and where are you in the timeline of recovery?
So at the time of recording this, we're about 2.5 months in-ish. I want to get the surgery done.
You wanted to get the surgery?
I wanted to get the surgery done.
Right.
So I wanted to get it done when I left Mississippi, but my surgeon was having a baby. He was on maternity leave, paternity leave.
Okay.
When the dude leaves.
Paternity.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So he's gone, and then he fires me a text in the spring, hey, I got some operating time. I got a couple hours. It's all yours if you wanted it. And I hummed and hawed because I thought, well, this is a little bit late in the summer or in the spring anyway. It's going to put me on time for maybe after the start of the season recovery. And then with all the ankle issues I've been having, like we talked about, Matt texts me. He's like, dude, I'm so happy I got the double cam hip surgery. My ankles feel great. My knee, my groin, this is amazing. And I'm thinking this has to be a sign from God. God is telling me, the surgeon's giving me the time. Matt's has the same issues that I've had or that I'm still having. I got to get it done. So I got it done. So both hips are fixed now. And it's actually crazy. At the time of recording this, so the first hip that I had done had 25 degrees of rotation by the time we were all said and done. I think we had about 4 or 5 before the surgery. The new hip, the most recent one, already has 30. And we're not even fully maxed out yet. So it's actually really interesting because the bone growth itself was bigger than the first one. But I asked the doc, can you please take off a little bit extra? Because I remember I
did the same thing for my circumcision, just for the record, yeah.
Very comparable. Life-changing surgeries. But yeah, so I asked him to take off a little bit more because more hip gone, more mobility. More mobility means I can make more saves. More saves means more cash in the bank, which is, we're looking to retirement. Not looking forward to retirement, but trying to make the most of the playing career that I have because it's a very short window, right?
Just to draw parallels, this may surprise you, and it may surprise somebody who's listening who didn't know this, and it's a very little known fact. It's not common, but I have heard of it happening where professional models will go in and have their hips shaved.
Like old man hip surgery?
Well, not to the extent where they're taking off bone growth, but they're literally shaving it down. And keep in mind, these are fashion models, runway models. I'm not saying all of them. There's a very small percentage that get them done. But as women's bodies grow and whatnot, they will go in, and if they deem it necessary, they can go in and have cosmetic surgery done and get the hip shaved down.
Yeah, you can't see what I look like under my gear.
Yeah,
so that
exactly.
doesn't really matter.
Right, exactly. Yeah, for you, it's more of a mobility thing, obviously, but it's
it's an epidemic in goaltending. Like many guys are dealing with this, but nobody wants to talk about it.
We've talked about it before. We talked about it with Corey Schneider over the summer as far as the expectations that are happening, and especially for, Corey said it best, your body's not supposed to bend that way, and here you are being asked to do that, to do your job, to make the body bend that way. And of course it comes with its collateral damage. But I'm curious to know, like, going into the surgery, especially after the first one, did you have more apprehension, less apprehension?
I was scared.
Because even the second time?
I was more scared the second time than the first time, because the first time I was having so many issues with my hip and my groin and my knee that it's like I get the surgery or you stop playing. So it's a very simple decision. Go get the surgery or stop playing hockey. I want to play hockey. But this go around, it's doable, it's manageable with the right rehab, with the right mobility. I can get it done. But if I did get it done, what's possible? Now I have 2 hips fixed, not 1. The ankle issues would go away. And thankfully, after I got the surgery done, Doc says, listen, your ankle issues are going to be gone. Your knee issues are going to be gone. Everything's going to be actually working properly now. So you're good to go. So that's really exciting. For the first time in God knows how long, I'm actually with 2 functioning, fully 100% hips. And it has me really excited. Before the surgery, I was at a point where I'm thinking, this isn't fun, because I'm always in pain, right? Like I'm dealing with the ankle issues I was telling you all the time.
Yeah, 28, you shouldn't be dealing with that.
Well, 27 at the time, now 28. But it's not fun. Right, like playing hockey is supposed to be fun. Going into the post and having your ankle moan and groan and then having to adapt your post work to not hurt that's not fun. But now they're both healthy and I'm getting the mobility back and I'm getting super low on a squat for the first time in my life and I'm not having hip pain. It's exciting. It's making me very frisky to get back on the ice.
Okay.
Yeah.
To get back on the ice.
There's
I'm glad
a new
you said
word.
that. Yeah.
There's that pro hockey education. Frisky to get on the ice.
Well, and I'm fascinated to know why you were more nervous the second time going in, especially knowing the results that you got after the first one.
Because he told me, my surgeon specifically said the second go around usually does not go as well as the first one. And the first one really well because there was no mobility, there's no range at all.
Well, and here you are beating the odds because you're saying the recovery is going better than the first time around.
So to give you an idea, I didn't skate till I think it was week 13, week 14.
After the first surgery.
After the first surgery.
Right.
I hopped on the ice last week in goalie skates for the first time at week 9.5.
Okay.
And I felt better at week 9.5. I did last go around at week 13, 14. I haven't gotten on full gear. I'm going to get in full gear next week, but I'm feeling really, really, really good.
Were the bone spurs, for lack of a better term, were they caused by the friction that your hips were doing playing the butterfly style?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's the rubbing of the femur and the hip. So if you're watching the video version, you have your femur, you have your little bone growth, and it can only rotate so much before it starts growing the bone growth because it's not a natural position. Your body wants to build the callus to stop you from doing it. It does a great job. And then it's bone on bone, and then you end up getting the spurs, kind of like shreds the labrum a bit, depending on how much damage is going on in there. So especially as a big guy, I think you can take any goal in the NHL, 6'3 plus, you can put them in this category. They've had one and or both hips done. It's just whether you know about it or not.
Has he told you anything about long-term effects of this?
Yeah, no arthritis.
Really?
Yeah. When they do the hip surgery, you remove 90 to 95% of any hip arthritis that's going to come down the line, which is great for quality of life. I know we've talked about it before, but Carey Price, the fact that he can barely even be a father to his kids, like that's not a life I want to live. I want to do things outside of even just take my kids up the stairs when the time comes. Or like making pancakes in the morning. That was one of his things. He wants to make pancakes in the morning for his kids, and he can't do that because his knees are all shot and his hips are whacked. But this will help with that.
Why wouldn't everyone get this done then?
It's a long recovery.
I can think of 2 guys off the top of my head that have brand new hips, and that would be Bo Jackson and Vanilla Ice.
Ice baby.
Yeah, it's him. Yeah, they both went in and got the complete hip removed and replaced.
Well, stop collaborating and listen.
Yeah, right?
Ice it back with my brand new invention.
So I just find it interesting that even though you're shaving things down and shaving down a little bit extra, it's actually doing you benefit long term. I thought, in my mind, it seems like such a short term situation where you're like, I want to play the best that I can and I'll deal with the aftermath after I retire. But it sounds like it's going to be gravy all the way through.
At face value, yeah. One of the things that Matt and I talked about in our interview was
Full name for those that don't know?
Matt Murray.
There you go.
Was. Sorry. One of the things that him and I talked about, because he had the double hip surgery done, which is about a 9 to 10 month recovery versus one hip is 6 months, is you're losing basically an entire year. In his case, for me, part of a year. How are teams going to look at that? You missed X amount of time. There was no performance. You're injured. You just had surgery. Like, how is that going to affect things? And if you get it done at the right time, it's great, right? Like, if you're performing, if you have a team lined up, great, take the time off. But if you don't, you're in a contract year, or maybe you're in my neck of the woods where it's not even year to year, it's day to day. Is that a good idea? Well, if I can't perform and I'm always injured, well, then there's no other answer but to get it done.
Right. So by the time you take off to Spain in early October, you're 100%.
Late September.
Late September, you're 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
We're way ahead this time. And I'm really, really excited to see what I can actually do and put on the ice in motion or into action for come game time, results-wise, stats-wise, and also for the team. How many games can we win? How many saves can I make? How much of a game breaker can I be now that I can move properly and I can get a range of motion that I couldn't before? And I'm a big guy. You just got to get the body, get the frame in the line of the puck, in the sight lines, right place, right time. That's the name of the game.
So where are you training now until the point where you leave for Spain? Are you staying in Van the whole time?
Yep, me in Vancouver. I'll be working with Pasco up until the start of the season, and then I'm excited for the start of the season, man.
What's your itinerary? You go from Van to where?
Vancouver to here with you for
Winnipeg, yeah.
3 days. Got to shuffle some things around with my equipment and things that I'm taking over to Spain. And then Winnipeg to Toronto, Toronto to Barcelona, Barcelona train to Lograno in Spain.
Amazing.
I'm excited.
And you got your place all set to go?
Yep.
You living by yourself? You got a roommate? What's the deal?
3 dudes. Living with, probably, most likely 3 dudes.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am for this new experience, new culture, new hockey, fresh start. Maybe not dealing with the same stuff from the past couple of years, just a fresh start in general.
Fresh start.
It's exciting. And stuff to share with you as well, like the people listening to the show that have been with us for so dang long.
Well, we'll focus on the hockey stuff on this podcast, and of course the lifestyle and the vlog. We will cover most of that as far as the behind the scenes. And I'm assuming you've spoken to the team already about having cameras in the locker room and kind of doing it behind the scenes.
Yep.
And they're good with it?
Yep. I'm going to do the usual throwing GoPros around the arena, the Insta360s. But come game day, I want to do like a mic'd up thing. So kind of like what I did in Vail in Colorado for the, what was that, in March?
Yep.
I think. Where I'm going to have the mic on. We're going to do mic'd up hockey with some action and make the game days really, really exciting. I got to find a camera guy or a videographer. But once we get that together, get the drone shots of Barcelona and all other beautiful places around the country and Europe. And hopefully you can tell if you're on the audio version, but I'm just so fired up.
Good.
I'm excited.
Good for
Hockey
you, man.
season's coming. Pumpkin spice season's here. I got the best podcast host in the world right in front of me. Greatest listeners to a podcast ever. Let's go.
What are your expectations going into the season personally for personal stats? Outside of the team winning, we all know you want the team to win, and that comes with its own amount of success. But as far as you personally, what are your goals?
Definitely 500 in the wins category. That's priority number one. Because the team didn't do so well last season, so getting wins, obviously. Winning is what ultimately matters. Stats-wise, it's going to be similar to the Fed, where if anything over 900 is ideal. If I can get a 905 or 910, I'm happier than a pig in shit. But big saves, winning games is the number one priority. Because this is another thing a lot of guys don't talk about. Stats, as much as stats do matter, it doesn't tell the whole story. You have guys in the American League that are nasty goalies that could play in the NHL, but they're on a poor team, maybe they're in a poor defensive structure. Their stats are going to suffer. You're going to say, oh, well, this guy isn't that good. Well, actually, no, he's nasty. Just hasn't been given the opportunity to.
Well, we've talked about it numerous times. I mean, there's some goaltenders that need 60 shots in order to stop 55 of them, right? And they still let in 5. Their goals against is a little weak, but their save percentage is up. There's other guys who, like having 12 shots on net, and they'll let in 1 or 2, right? So the exact polar opposite as far as a statistical category. But I'm curious to see, because a lot of times teams have made the mistake going, oh my God, look at that guy. He can stop 50 shots a night. But when he's only getting 15, he's not quite the same guy. He needs to be active all the time. Do you know which kind of goalie you are? I'm
definitely the big shot kind of guy. Give me 50 shots. I'm cruising. I'm busy all night. It's hard to stay focused when you're getting 15 or 20.
Bingo.
You get a quality shot here and there. You haven't seen any action for 7 to 8 minutes. It's difficult to stay in your game. It really, really is.
Well, it goes back to the old Mike Ditka frame of thinking when it comes to sports, which is defense wins championships, right? I mean, if they can't put the puck in the net, then you can. He always said, he goes, if I can keep that team to 0, I certainly hope that my offense can at least get a field goal.
Well, the Oilers almost proved you wrong on that theory this summer.
That's Mike Ditka's, not mine. But the idea is, and again, I mean, you can go with that game-saving goaltender who's going to save you a game when he gets 50 shots a night, or you can go with a guy who's a little less expensive and beef up on your defense and make sure you got quality guys out there who's not letting the pucks get into the net. So I'm curious to see what kind of style your team plays and where they put a lot of their focus on, whether it's a defensive-minded team, is it an offensive-minded team? Yeah, I'm curious to see how long it takes for you to kind of find your way into the tapestry of whatever they're trying to knit up.
I'm going to assume it's like all pro leagues where the money isn't scoring goals. You score goals, you move up. You move up, you win games, right? And it's good for the team. It's good for the goose. It's good for the gander. So I would assume offensive strong, defensive maybe not as focused, but hey, defense would help too.
Do they have an affiliation system set up over there?
Nope, this is the top league in Spain.
Okay.
So it's on Fed level. It's like equivalent for like a skill level.
Okay.
But the games are live on YouTube. So they're all broadcast. So if you're okay with the time change, I think it's 6 hours. So depending on wherever you're, or 6 hours from Winnipeg time zone, I think, Central.
Okay.
So if you're okay with the time change, you can watch the games live for free on YouTube.
Okay, and then they will live there after the game's done, obviously, for people that want to watch after.
Yep, and they're in Spanish. So you put the subtitles on.
Perfecto.
I know you'll love that.
Muy bien. Necesito mucho práctica para hablar muy bien español.
We got to get some post-game reactions.
Oh,
You watching the game in Spanish?
Can I go in and do color commentary?
Sure.
If I go, listen, my wife has been like, so when does Travis go? Christmas in Spain would be nice. Just saying. She doesn't actually sound like that.
What does she sound like?
Not like that.
Sound more like Kermit the Frog on that one.
Hi-ho. No, honestly, man, I can understand how exciting it can be, but I'm sure there's a little bit of anxiety going into it too, just based on the PTSD that you have from former teams and whatnot. I mean, the good news is that you know that can happen, right? Absolutely can.
Yep.
So you know how to deal with it if it does. And I think having that knowledge, you kind of go in with hey, best foot forward. Go from there.
Well, hard times happen, right? Like if you want to be mentally tough for that type of stuff, you can't just flip a switch and magically turn it on. If you're either mentally tough or you're not. When the shit hits the fan and maybe things aren't going well, pucks are going in, the defense isn't structured, the fans are booing you, whatever the case may be. We're traveling, long travel trips to Barcelona. Mentally tough times reveal character, as we were talking about today at Starbucks. So,
big question. You ready?
Yep.
Have you been practicing your Spanish? No. Why not is the next question.
Because we need some sponsors.
I get what you're saying.
But until we get them, now let's take a quick commercial break for the presenting sponsor from the show. Since day one, they're back. Sheath Underwear. The greatest pair of underwear money can buy and ever has bought.
Right.
It's the only underwear we've been wearing for almost 2 years now.
Fantastic stuff.
Well, if you want to get a game-changing pair of underwear, Sheath Underwear, they have the dual pouch technology, which is a segregated compartment to separate your dick and your balls. They're not sticking to the side of your leg. They're not bat winging. They also have not the bamboo mesh anymore. They have a new mesh.
Ooh.
It's aerated. I'm wearing it right now. It's even better than it was before.
I'll be honest with you. I wearing them out on the golf course in the summer, and keep in mind, Manitoba summers they get hot. Like they get hot and they get humid for a period of time. And wearing the Sheath underwear out there has certainly avoided the peanut butter bum. Straight up, it's true. There's less mid-course maintenance that needs to be done with the Sheath underwear.
Peanut butter bum.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about, though, right? Yeah, you know. Get the underwear; it helps.
And right now, if you go to link in the video description on YouTube, use the code BIZKIT, BIZKIT. There's no numbers anymore. BIZKIT. That's it. 20% off. Only from the team at Sheath, Apple, Spotify, podcast notes. 20% off. Code BIZKIT, and you get the greatest pair of underwear the money ever has and ever will buy.
Yeah, agreed.
No, as far as my commute goes, though, like I mentioned to you, taking the train down to Barcelona or flying to Barcelona, train down to Lograno.
Be honest, you asked for the train ride.
It's the only way to get there.
Okay.
Which I'm very excited for.
No airport there.
Now that I know of, my agent said you got to fly into Barcelona, then train down to Lograno.
Okay.
But I'm excited for the road trips. The road trips are going to be really exciting. As we go down to Barcelona, we travel all over northern Spain. So it's going to be really nice.
I think you're going to fall in love with that country. I really do.
I think so too. A lot of the guys I've been talking to that I escaped with back in Vancouver that are playing the East Coast or over in Europe, they're like, dude, Spain. I wish I was playing in Spain. They're playing in Norway. They're playing Spain. Beautiful weather. Beautiful spot. Good hockey. No winter. Did I mention there's no winter?
They have winter, just no snow.
I'm looking forward to it.
Which is super nice.
Might be a little bit humid though.
And I know you've already talked about trying to skip around and seeing a few other cities and whatnot in Europe, and the access that you have from there is just going to be very simple to achieve that.
I think we're pretty close to France.
Cool.
France is above us, right?
Great question.
Maybe some.
You should probably know your geography before you go.
We'll work on it though. If you go to France though, get a coffee, cigarette, come back on the train.
France is northwest of you.
Northwest. Never eat soggy wieners. Okay, gotcha.
Never eat soggy wieners.
Never heard of that one?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it.
That's a good one.
Yeah, never eat shredded wheat.
Remember when we did the math test at the beginning of last season? You're making me remind myself. Training camp last season. Boss comes in. All right, guys, listen up. We had the stupidest team in all of professional hockey last season. It's not going to happen again. We're doing a math test and geography. And I got excited because I'm not bad at math, but it was the geography where I thought, oh boy. Or sorry, American history.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I batted 90% on the math test. I was stoked about that. Everybody graded everybody else's papers, so I hope that I didn't get cheated by whoever graded mine.
Yeah.
But the American history, I think I batted like 25%. I wasn't too great at that.
Okay.
That's a failing grade.
Well, look, I will give you credit. You can parlay that with the fact that you've done an amazing job. If you haven't checked out the videos yet, an amazing job on your Canadian history. On the train hotels, the rail hotels that went up across the country. And that was a wonderful series. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of schools are going to use that this fall in their curriculum.
Yeah, it was an awesome series. It was exciting traveling Canada, experiencing all these cool things and actually getting to know the cities. But I'm kind of excited that is wrapped up and all done. That was a very fun project while I was getting hip surgery, which, by the way, if you're wondering why I was doing the railway hotels thing, I had the surgery. I couldn't skate, couldn't do actual goalie things while I was waiting to rehab. So I said, I'm going to work on the series. This will be a nice little fun project, which is something I want to do post-retirement anyway, whenever that time does come. But now it's back into hockey full-time, and I'm excited. At the time of recording this, though, Dave and I are heading to Saskatoon tomorrow at the Bessborough Hotel. We're going to do a little bit of golfing, which we've been talking about for a while. Might even hit the pads outside by the river, outside the hotel, the boxing gloves.
We'll see how bad he golfs first, and we'll go from there.
This is what I'm picturing already. You ready for this one?
Yeah.
28-year-old has his way with 42-year-old morning host.
Yeah, problem is I'm 44.
I'm getting flashbacks again to my boss last season walking in. We have the dumbest team in pro hockey, and I'm looking around at the guys from the season before thinking, man, this guy's dumb as shit. This guy's dumb as a box of bricks. God, glad I'm here.
Takes all shapes and sizes. Listen, when it comes to hockey IQ, it's a completely different category, and they don't train you for that in school.
They absolutely do not.
No, they certainly don't.
Man, you ever remember doing anything like that during your hockey days?
What's that?
Like a math test or any crazy stuff like that?
Well,
like initiations or season opening stuff like that?
A lot of my buddies that ended up going through the university route, some of them had a higher, what's the best way to put this? Some teams cared about the scholastic journey, other teams did not. Some teams gave you the opportunity to just float your entire 4 years and get your degree. Other teams are like, no, you're going to work for this. We are student athletes and we take that very seriously here. Other schools, not so much. I know the NCAA has been battling with that back and forth, and there is a good argument that I actually got into a discussion about with a very smart individual who said, if school is for higher learning and your career is going to be in professional sports, then being an athlete in a school is part of your learning, right? Doesn't mean that you can't minor in something else and make sure you have something else to fall back on. But if I'm going to learn the ins and outs of professional sports and I'm going to go to university to do that, then they should teach me all the ins and outs. So a lot of your learning outside of the actual on ice or on field or on pitch, whatever it may be, should be the ins and outs of how to navigate a contract, how to navigate, looking for a place, geographically, where are you? Do you need to learn a language? Like, these are all the things they should be teaching you to make that journey. If you are going to make the next step out of university or out of post-secondary or out of, minor hockey or whatever sport it may be, that should be a lot of the education that comes along with these NCAA programs, instead of just, you got to make sure you do well on your math, make sure you do well on your English, whatever your major is, basket weaving, TV repair, whatever it is. It should be more, they should get more credit for learning what industry they're about to go into. That was a valid point.
Did you see that kid? I think he was committed to the Michigan NCAA D1. They ended up decommitting.
Which one, Michigan or Michigan Tech or Michigan State?
It was the yellow and blue team.
Yellow. Okay, so that's the Wolverines.
Wolverines, okay.
Yeah.
So he was committed there. Top draft pick by Montreal. But I guess his grades sucked. And they said, we can't accept this kid. He's dumb as shit. So they decommitted him, and now he's going to go play in the OHL.
Okay, well, is he going to be able to get away with that?
Yeah, because he never played a game.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, yeah, I guess it doesn't matter. You can always go back to the CHL. It says that you can't do it the other way. The second you play a game in the CHL, you lose a year of eligibility. Although I think that's changing because the NCAA always considered major junior hockey in Canada to be semi-professional. Mm-hmm. So that was the reason there. But I had a guy I know very well. All he had to do was score over 800. He had to get over 50% on his SATs to get into a school, Michigan Tech. 50%. Listen, they give you 200 points just for getting your name right. And he had to take the test 3 times. So, again, sometimes they don't necessarily, some schools care, some schools don't. But they do have a floor.
That's a tough look, though. Bless you.
Thank you.
That's a tough look.
Taking it 3 times to get 50%?
And
sure.
can't get your name right?
Yeah, well.
That's hockey.
Some people forget. Some people are so focused on it, they actually forget to put their name.
I'm just picturing, if you're in the video version of the show, that's not good.
Travis is breaking the studio.
F1, no name. PP2? Shit. 2 plus 2. Damn it. Picture that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you a story that I actually shared with the one of the technicians that was changing my oil the other day. And I said, I don't know if you've ever heard this one or not. I said, but this is a urban legend. I don't have direct access to whether the story is legit or not, but from what I understand, it's true.
Yep.
A person comes into a oil repair shop and says, hey, I lost my 710 cap. Do you guys have another 710 cap? Had these guys baffled. 710 cap. They said, this vehicle, the one that you pulled in, yep, I'm missing my 710 cap. So they're going through the catalog. They're like, 710 cap, they pop in the hood, 710 cap. And they said, show me where this cap is missing. And she said, right there. And if you think 710 upside down spells oil.
Oh, now this portion of the podcast is sponsored from the team at BetterHelp. Now, BetterHelp is an online therapy resource. They're a new sponsor for the show, by the way. And I've been using BetterHelp for about 7 to 8 months now. And it's incredible. They make therapy accessible and affordable in a way that's never been done before. It's as simple as going online, signing up. You can use your phone, iPad, laptop, any mobile device, and you get hooked up with a survey. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions, find out about your unique circumstances and scenario. Give them a couple days. They're going to pair you with a unique therapist that's custom to your specific situation. And you just hop online, 30, 45, an hour session, whatever you're looking for. They do group sessions. They do individual sessions. It can really help to unwind some of, at least for myself personally, a lot of those inner childhood wounds, those inner childhood traumas to try to make the best version of yourself. And whatever mistakes may be going on in your life, your marriage doesn't have to be falling apart. Your life doesn't have to be in shambles to get a little bit of help. I think we can all use a little bit of help. And right now, if you're on the video version of the show, you go to the link in the description, click on that betterhelp.com/biscuit. It's going to get you 10% off your first month of therapy, or use the code BISCUIT. Apple, Spotify, same thing. Pull over and save to do so in the car. And your gym set, podcast and notes, betterhelp.com/biscuit. And again, thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring the show. Is she blonde? Is she single?
How'd you know it was a she?
I just assumed. I saw this TikTok the other day that was like, when a mechanic sees a woman come in by herself to get an oil change, the things you don't want to hear as a woman is, so who worked on this last? Oh, this isn't very good. Do you see this color? Yeah, she has no idea what they're doing. When was the last time the brake pads were checked? Ooh, $800 bill.
Listen, there's dudes that go in and do the same thing. I know it's more often than not the stereotype of women not knowing as much about vehicles, but there are some dudes out there too who are just as clueless. They know how to drive. It's like Cold Trickle. There's an old reference here for Days of Thunder, an old Tom Cruise movie with Nicole Kidman, where he was a race car driver, NASCAR driver, didn't have a sniff how to pop a hood, but he could drive the car.
Burning the midnight oil.
That's a different movie. That's a band out of Australia.
I was thinking we're burning the midnight oil at the mechanic shop, bus trips for Spain.
Gotcha.
Bringing everything back full circle here. Burn the midnight oil in my hip.
By the way, have you looked into that? How is their transportation? Do they have their own bus? Do they rent? Do they car? What do they do? How do they get around? All train?
No, the old jalopy, the bus.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Bus trips are great. Bus trips bring the team together.
Do you know what your longest road trip is and what your shortest is?
Probably like 5 or 6 hours.
Probably. You haven't looked then, have you?
I looked on a map today. It didn't look that far. It was all kind of in the north corner of Spain.
Okay.
But compared to last season, where the shortest bus trips, like actual bus trips, were like 10, 12 hours, the last 2 seasons, I'll take that any day of the week. I remember when I was in Sweden, we'd do 4 hours. It was our longest trip. We'd have some in like the 45 to an hour and a half range. And guys would be like, oh, this is long. This is a long trip. We're going to be back home at around midnight, 1 a.m. Dude, imagine coming back from a road trip. You play the game, load the bus up, get everything all packed up, leave, get back home at noon the next day, and you're sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
I will give credit, though. When I was in Mississippi, they took about half the bus, they ripped the seats out, and they just put mattresses. So all the vets would sleep in the middle of the bus on an actual mattress. And then if you're like me, you just got traded for the 3rd time in 2 months, you got to sit in a chair.
You sleep in the luggage rack. Well, look, that's one of the reasons, just to bring things up to the NHL level, that's one of the reasons, and I know a lot of people think that more often than not it has to do with the city or whatnot. A lot of times, the reason why a lot of players want to play in the Metropolitan Division is that they play road games and they're back in their own bed that night. Like, there's less, like I would say almost half in comparison to what the Central Division has to go through. I mean, if you're going from Winnipeg all the way down to Dallas and that's just a divisional game. Would you prefer that, or would you prefer going to play DC and then going back to sleep in your bed in New York later that night?
But is it kind of elitist for them to say, oh, I don't like the travel schedule, and they do a private charter, first class, custom chef, private chef, get whatever you want. You want lobster, you want chicken, done. Oh, we don't like the travel schedule. Dude, we're slugging it out in the bus. Imagine being in the East Coast where you're doing 24 hours in a bus, no private chef, no charter, bus breaks down, guys got to change a flat tire on the side of the interstate. I think they got it pretty good.
Sure, they got it good. Absolutely, they do. But I mean, if you had your choice, especially imagine if you got a family, you got 2 or 3 kids at home. Do you want to be on two nights to go play one game down in Dallas, or would you rather play one game and then be back in bed with your wife and see your kids the next morning? Right, a lot of it has to do with that as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And some guys, they just can't sit still for that long. Even if you're traveling from Vancouver down to Florida, some guys don't like taking that plane ride.
That's a good jaunt over there.
Sure it is.
Vancouver to Florida? How long would that take? That'd be like a 7.5 banger?
At least. Yeah, considering I flew from Cancun to San Francisco, and that was 5.5.
Do you enjoy flying?
Do I enjoy flying? Yeah. You know what? Louis C.K., as much as I know that triggers some people to say that name, did a great bit on Conan O'Brien once upon a time where he talked about how Wi-Fi technology in airplanes was like new, like it had just come out the week before. And this business guy was sitting down next to him, and he pops open his laptop, and they're in the air and waiting for the Wi-Fi to kick in, and all of a sudden over the intercom goes, boom, boom. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize. The Wi-Fi will not be available for this flight. And he goes, oh. And I'm thinking, and I'm speaking on behalf of Louis now. He goes, what does the world owe you? You are flying in the air 15,000 feet at 800 kilometers an hour. You should be going, oh my God, this is amazing. And you're worried about the Wi-Fi. So it blows me away that we have come so far technologically in the last 100 years that we can jump on a plane and treat it like, we're jumping on the back of a horse and buggy and going to the next town, and we can fly across the world in the course of a day. I enjoy that aspect of flying. As far as the hustle and bustle of getting to the airport an hour and a half early, checking your baggage, are they going to get lost, going through security, having kids in tow, getting on the flight, someone sneezing, someone coughing, someone kicking the back of your seat. That I can do without with. I have been lucky enough to fly private a few times. Oh, that's the way to go.
It's a treat.
Oh, is that ever lovely?
Man, I got to give a shout out, though. When I was flying in from Vancouver to Winnipeg the other day, shout out to this old dude who was sitting beside me. I'm sitting in the window seat getting my footage out of the plane. This dude's sitting beside me, 70, 75 years old-ish, and he's crushing red wine. Him and his wife. He's like, are you going to drink your red wine? No, I don't drink. I'll take 2. This guy's getting waxed on this Air Canada plane. 2 hours from Vancouver to Winnipeg.
Good for him.
It's better than WestJet, where they're not even offering booze. Are they offering booze now? They changed that.
I don't know. Who knows? Listen, when it comes to flying in Canada, it's completely a different nut than flying over in other parts of the world. So
I find it kind of soothing, though, flying.
Sure. Absolutely. They always say when you're drinking on an airplane, 1 in the air equals 3 on the ground. It's true. Because you're in a sardine can. You're breathing in compressed air. Your elevation is much higher, so your blood's thinning out a lot more, right? And so you drink one drink, it's like having 3 on the ground. It's true. You can get smashed on the plane real quick. I've been there.
I was flying back from Toronto a couple weeks ago, and this one nurse was sitting beside me, and we were having a nice conversation. And she says to me, she said, what do you do for the most of this flight? I said, I just look out the window. And she said, is that it? You do anything else? I said, no, I just look out the window. It's like, does that get boring? No, like the views are always changing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You wouldn't know what it's like because you're sitting beside me in the middle seat, but over here it's great.
Out of curiosity, when you sit on an airplane and someone wants to strike up a conversation, do you have are you okay to chat with people, or do you just kind of throw on the headphones and get into your own world? What do you do?
I'm going to give you an answer you're not going to expect. I instantly, my framework in my mind changes to, like, this is a challenge mode. I love challenges. And here's somebody that maybe I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things. I'm going to make it my goal to work on my conversation skills, to converse with this person, maybe learn something about them, learn something about myself, and see if I can get anything out of this. And ideally not talk about nothing. I mean, there was this one lady a couple weeks ago, we were talking about politics, and it was kind of interesting because you don't talk about that in an airplane and everything's quiet, but it was enjoyable. I don't mind talking to strangers in the airport.
I had
better than getting punched in the head in a train.
They'll let anyone on those trains.
Suitcase killer.
Jeez, just got to prove that your heart's beating. They'll let you on a train.
Oh, God. He's still on the loose, by the way.
It's what?
He is still on the loose.
Unbelievable. For those that haven't checked out that episode, go check it out. It's a doozy.
I got punched in the head by a guy wanted on Interpol. The suitcase killer in Cartagena, I think.
Colombia. Unbelievable.
Punch me in the head. I live to tell the tale.
Unbelievable. Let's get another sponsor in here before we get close to wrapping up here.
We get no sponsors left for this episode.
Okay.
So, Thank you to listeners for listening to the show. Happy to have you back. Happy to be back. Greatest podcast co-host in the world right here.
Hope you enjoyed all the reaction videos and interview series, and the summer was a lot of fun. We were able to get out and do some stuff, and I spent some time with the family, and you were able to train. So yeah, I was happy that we got some good response. So hopefully you enjoyed all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, back in Winnipeg, beautiful city, despite what the comment section says sometimes.
Weather's good, baby.
From the right angle, looks great. Humidity's a little bit much, but the people are friendly. Food scene's great. Great coffee. Coffee's hot. Coffee's strong.
Some of the best food in the world, man. We got some of the best Red Seal chefs in the entire world right here in Winnipeg. The diversity of our food is incredible.
I saw a TikTok the other day of some lady saying she's in the U.S., going over to Spain. I've been getting a lot of Spain videos on my TikTok. I also learned about they have like a food grading system. Every piece of food that you buy that's in a package in Spain has like a grade A, grade B, grade C, grade D, which I found kind of interesting.
I love that.
That's a total side note. But this lady from the U.S. was in New York going to Spain. She said, I can't wait to see what the Walmarts look like over there. And I thought, that'd be like me in Sweden saying, I can't wait to see what the IKEA looks like in Winnipeg. It's the same shit.
It's the same building, same sign, same stuff. Got to put it together yourself.
If anybody over in Spain has listened to the show,
by the way,
leave a comment.
Great meatballs at IKEA.
Oh, so fast, so great, outstanding. If you're in Spain, listen to the show. Leave a comment down below. What should I check out? I know the Spanish cheesecake is on the top of the list. I know it's seeing Barcelona, maybe going like a Barcelona. Is it Barcelona FC, the soccer team?
Yeah, yeah.
Going to one of those games on the list. What else should I do during the season? And then talk about it on the podcast.
Go to Madrid.
Yeah, I think they're a little further away.
That's okay.
We go to Barcelona anyway.
Make it a trip. If you get a week off or whatever it is, go to Madrid.
Whatever it is, leave in the comment section below. If you want to support the show, join the Patreon page for $5 a month. Get the collector's trading cards, exclusive episodes, deleted episodes. Also, all the episodes go up 2 to 3 days early. Usually, like this, so this episode will be going up 2 to 3 days early, as everything else does. And when we do interviews and exclusives, those always go up a couple weeks early as well. So join the Patreon to support us. Thanks for listening to the show. I do new episodes every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. in Winnipeg, 9 in Saskatoon and Calgary, 8 Pacific Northwest in Vancouver. I don't know what time we record in Spain.
You got to figure that out.
I'll work on that for the next episode. And we'll see you soon. Thanks for listening.